market indicators predict the next trillion-dollar industry will be in health and wellness. Today, dietary supplements are the backbone of this industry. It is not a question of if people will supplement. They already are. They already are to the tune of $15 to $20 billion a year. I grew up on a farm, and my father in those days had never heard of a pesticide or herbicide. He used good farming practices. He had never ever heard of synthetic fertilizers. He uses well-rotted manure. Trust me, I know. It came in my bedroom window. But you see, they did know about healthy soil and how critical that was. And then I went on, I took my nursing degree and went on to study nutrition and did teach in 3 medical clinics in nutrition. So I became acutely aware of supplements and brands through that time, and so I actually thought I would do my due diligence. I had to understand what really is the truth about supplements. And I put together a program about why supplement. And so for years, I'd go out of those rooms and people would say, why don't you write all this down in a book? I just can't remember all this stuff. And so I said, look, I'm a nurse. I am not a writer. So one day I met a PhD friend in English. And he said, Gloria, why don't you write the book? I said, I don't know how. And he said, why don't you give me your tapes, give me your lectures, and we'll work together, and we'll write the book together. And that fellow was Dr. Jerry Paquette. The book, you must read the book. The book is to educate you. It's a reference tool. This is not a novel. You will not see anything about Britney Spears in here. There's no trias, there's no love triangles. This is facts. Now, there's parts of the book you may think, oh boy, this is pretty heavy going. But you know what? If it's on the human cell, it better be heavy going, because that's what keeps you going. If you don't understand the human cell, that's why people eat so much junk. They don't even know what they're doing to these little tiny individual life givers. And so I explain it in here in terms that medical community can read it and appreciate it, but also the person that doesn't understand that kind of stuff. But you've got to know and understand. The same as you got to know, what are proteins? If 96% of everything that ever happens in your body requires protein, wouldn't you think it behooves you to know what they actually do? And what they are, and why they're so significant in our bodies? There's a section in here that talks about the importance of fish oil in relationship to the brain. And there's another section that talks a lot about refined foods and sugars that have a huge effect on children's brains. You see, this industry is a very poorly regulated and poorly standardized industry. Yes, they're trying to put some regulations in place and lay them down, but who's monitoring them? You see, in the book, on page 41, and your book should be all marked up and lots of stickers sticking out of it, on page 41 in my book, it talks about many of the supplements that are on the market are actually contributing to this nutritional void. How is that? Well, there was a study done by Consumer Lab in 2005, and they show where 1/4 of the most popular multivitamin products actually flunk out when it comes to meeting even the most minimal standards of potency, quality control testing. Results showed problems in approximately 33% of the products. Some things like too little active ingredient, too much, the wrong active ingredient altogether, dangerous and illegal ingredients, unsatisfactory disintegration times, contamination with toxins such as lead and mercury and PCBs, even in some major children's multivitamins. Yes, even children's multivitamins high in lead. Rancidity in many of the fish oils, unsupported health claims. Look at the wonderful juices that are out there doing these magical things like goji and mango and all these wonderful juices. they have health claims, 35 things that they cure or prevent. It's one berry. It's one berry. And you know, there isn't anything wrong with any one of those berries. They're wonderful. But you need to put them together so they actually can work together. God didn't say, I will only put one berry on the earth and you shall thrive. You see, it never ceases to amaze me that people will go out and research a TV. We're researching an aquarium. Well, we were out shopping for a car. We're shopping for a carburetor. We're researching a carburetor. But they will put anything in their mouth that someone tells them is good. Isn't that true? I find that quite shocking. So we need knowledge. I was at a luncheon one day, and this chiropractor had a brochure, bright colors, very, very classy, professional. And she passed it all around the room, and she was talking about how this was such an amazing product, da-da-da-da-da. And I looked at it, and I said, oh, I noticed in here, the whole focus here is on milligrams. Is that true? And she looked at me, and I said, could you tell the group here what is a milligram? Because you see, a milligram is a weight measure. It does not tell you how many phytonutrients are in the product. And remember, it is not supplements that prevent disease or cure. It is your own body when you put the right nutrients in so it can do the job. You need to know what labels say and what they don't say. You need the assurance of knowing who your third-party resources are for you, that are available for you. You need a set of questions that you can start to ask when you're having a conversation. They're all on the last page of the book. You can actually plasticize them, and then eventually you'll get to know them very, very well. Now, before the questions, I have published each question with the underlying principle, explaining to you why you asked that question. Because that's another time when you could be very embarrassed, because you could ask a question and someone might say, well, why did you ask that question? Well, I don't know. Somebody said. So the underlying principle is just ahead of the actual question, so you know why you're asking them. Now, you don't need to ask all the questions every time. They'll think you're a nut bar. But just have the ones you need to ask. A lady at lunch the other day says it's a ladies' lunch, women extraordinaire. So I went. And the lady next to me, she said, I said, what do you do? She said, I counsel people on getting in touch with themselves. She said, and I sell supplements. She said, you know what they've done for me? Da, da, da. I mean, she had a wonderful array of things they had done, and that was wonderful. And I said, that's wonderful. Do you mind if I ask if they're plant-based? She said, oh, yes. I said, oh, how many plants? Dead silence. I said, oh, do you happen to know if the company owns their own land? And she said, gee, I don't know that. I said, do they have a published ORAC score? I said, you know what? 1% doubt is 100% failure. Why don't we find out? And so I wrote to the company, and I said, I'll send you their answers. It was good. So you do need to have that kind of information. This book is it's just timely, is what it is. We are in such need of this kind of information in the world today. So just 2 or 3 little tidbits. There's so much in the book, but just a couple of little tidbits. It'll answer questions for people like, why do we need to supplement? What does the word really mean anyway? What is the human cell, and what is it all about, and how does it relate to life? Exactly what role does soil play in our lives? Why does that matter? Why does it matter if it is actually plant-based? What are phytonutrients? Research is showing that it used to be that people thought, oh my gosh, they discovered another vitamin. But you see, more of a plant is not a vitamin or a mineral. It is actually these plant nutrients or plant chemicals. And they have much more to do with our health than the facilitators, which are vitamins and minerals. They're critical as well. But get to know those words. There's a whole bunch of them that are in here. They explain all about them, what they do, as much as they know. And there's probably 4,000 of these things. But you see, we're just learning about them now, so it's very timely that you are on top of that whole picture. Why is beta-carotene alone not enough? You see, people say, well, I'm taking a beta-carotene. Well, do you know what? There's actually 500 carotenoids in the carotenoid family, not just beta. So if you just bought a beta-carotene, you've got a very narrow spectrum product. Well, you need to know that kind of stuff. So, and on, but there are so many things that are so critical. Remember, Hippocrates was the father of all medicine. And once, way back when he spoke about let food be your medicine and let your medicine be your food. And that truly was the way it was for many years. But then man started taking over that whole thing. If you want to have quality of life and achieve maximum lifespan, you cannot do it with diet alone. You need extra nutritional boost that only supplements today can provide for many, many reasons, which are all alluded to in the book. In many ways, supplements are to humans what fertilizer is to plants. Give a plant adequate amounts of sunlight and water, and it'll survive. Add some organic nutrient-rich fertilizer, and the plant will thrive. We are the same. We need all of those phytonutrients coming into our bodies so that we can repair and protect ourselves and regenerate and support the renewal process. And I pray that our book will be a wonderful teaching resource to help you achieve all you wish in your life. Thank you.